despite the panic about the coronavirus, and boy has there been a panic. I mean, can you believe that Costco has run out of toilet paper because of panic buying? Wakey, wakey, people. This is a virus that makes you cough, not go to the toilet. But despite that panic, a few good signs today. Also a bad sign. New South Wales just recorded 4 more cases, all people who come from overseas. But the good signs. 1, there is now evidence that unlike the flu, the coronavirus tends not to hit young kids. And if children do get it, says our Chief Medical Officer, they tend to get almost no symptoms. So that's good. 2, there's been a big fall in new cases in China, virus central, if you trust the numbers. Just 125 new cases reported there yesterday. And 3, there's been a partial recovery in our stock market, just 0.7% today, but at least it stopped falling after 7 straight days. But the coronavirus, unfortunately, isn't the only thing that's slowed our economy lately. And this afternoon, the Reserve Bank dropped interest rates yet again to another incredible low, just 0.5%. Now, it says this cut is needed now that the coronavirus has come and clobbered the economy. And the big banks quickly passed on the full cut, which is good if you've got a mortgage, but bad if you're actually living off savings you've got in the banks. 0.5% interest rates, you know, that's almost like free money. But it's not actually a good sign at all. It actually shows you how much the economy is struggling. And we'll know just how much it's struggling with the National Accounts figures tomorrow. They cover the 3 months to Christmas. But we're now getting too close to a recession. In fact, the Reserve Bank says GDP growth this March quarter is likely, it said, to be noticeably weaker than earlier expected. That's ominous. And you've got to ask how much help this latest rate cut is really going to do. We had 3 rate cuts last year. They didn't do much because people are so nervous, and I don't think it's changed now. So I wish I could be optimistic. But we as a country have got some very challenging times ahead of us. Now, speaking of the coronavirus, there is one change I think we should be pushing for, and that's to replace the head of the World Health Organization. Now, Australia gives this organisation $8 million a year, so I think we should have a say. And what we should say is that the behaviour of its boss in this crisis has been appalling and has now got farcical. Now, this boss is Dr Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, and he's now claiming that worse than the coronavirus is the stigma about it.
It's so painful to see the level of stigma we're observing. We need to fight in unison. And stigma, to be honest, is more dangerous than the virus itself. And let's really underline that. A stigma is the most dangerous enemy.
That's incredible. More than 3,000 people dead from this Covid-19 virus already. But the boss of WHO says that more dangerous than that is the stigma. So what can he possibly mean? Well, says his organisation, for instance, we must stop talking about people transmitting Covid-19 or infecting others or spreading the virus, because that's judgmental. That implies intentional transmission and assigns blame. And he says what's also dangerous is attaching an ethnicity to the disease, like calling it a Wuhan virus or a Chinese virus, like we once called a virus the Spanish flu. Well, thank you so much for those suggestions, Dr Tedros, saving us from the horrific danger of calling this virus the wrong name. But how about your main job, saving millions from this Covid-19? Well, on that front, this man has actually been appalling. Now, Tedros is from Ethiopia, as I said last night, where he's been a member of a Marxist-Leninist group there. And at WHO, he tried to promote another Marxist, the brutal Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe, by making him a goodwill ambassador for WHO. And when the coronavirus hit China, Tedros raced to Beijing to congratulate its Marxist president for handling it all so very well.
And side by side, you have started serious public health measures. And this is very, very important, and really we're proud that. And the other important element is the political commitment and your personal leadership.
This is such bizarre sucking up to the dictator. You can understand why Xi Jinping was smirking as he heard all this. Because even one of Tedros' own advisors in this crisis, the Australian John Mackenzie, had actually attacked China for keeping the outbreak secret for too long. In fact, China has silenced the doctor who first warned of this strange new virus he was seeing. This is back in December, a doctor who then died from COVID-19. China also locked up 2 citizen journalists who first reported on the outbreak in Wuhan and showed people dying in the hospitals. And even the mayor of Wuhan itself took his life in his own hands by blaming China's leadership in Beijing for not telling people sooner.
各方面对我们信息的披露是不满意的。那么我们的这个信息以后，
But Tedros went even further in kowtowing to China and its communist leadership. He joined China in attacking countries like Australia and the United States, which had banned travel from China.
There is no reason for measures that unnecessarily interfere with international travel and trade.
Now, with Tedros initially against travel bans and other countries slow to react and impose some, can you be surprised that this COVID-19 virus has now spread to 75 countries? And can you be surprised that with no travel bans on Italy, for instance, travellers from just that one country, from Italy, have now brought the virus to at least 32 countries, including now Iceland and Portugal. But don't worry about that. To Dr Tedros, what's more dangerous still is that we might call this the China virus, and he sure doesn't want China upset.